What's up, everybody? Good. Yeah, sweet. Little Japanese art on them. These cleats are with a group called Water Mission that I met through PAO during the off season, and their mission is pretty much to travel the world and help countries or regions and places that don't have access to fresh water, whether that's showering, cleaning, eating, or drinking, or whatever, and help them like dig a well and get access to fresh water. And I'm planning on going on a trip with them sometime soon.
That was the trip you were on before you signed here, right? Or right when you came from?
No, that was actually a different trip to Africa with Biblica. I went with Matt Forte, which I met on the Jets, and he's been a good mentor for me throughout my career since I met him. And going through PAO and finding my faith and it's still kind of a new thing to me, and I'm still discovering it. But going on that trip and being able to do some mission work was a big deal for me.
What's the trip you're hoping to do with them coming up?
We haven't got scheduled on one yet, but I have been in talks with them. We're trying to figure out when's a good time to do it. I'm pretty sure they do it 4 times a year, like once each season. And we're just trying to figure out which one's a good time to go.
What's PAO?
PAO is a Players Outreach Association. I mean, something like that. And it's pretty much like a Christian conference for professional sports. It's like mostly football players that go. And I got sponsored to go by Nate Soldier at the Giants. He sponsored me to go. And at the time, I've probably been to church maybe a handful of times my whole life, and definitely had like my walls up around religion and faith and things like that. But he sponsored me to go. I was in Florida already, so I was like, why not go? And it's been like a big turning. It was a big pivotal moment in my life, I would say.
You mentioned you met Geno back in your rookie year when you first got to the Jets. How have you seen over the years, obviously you played with him early in his career and now you're with him now, how have you seen him kind of progress as a player?
I mean, it was tough because my first year meeting him was when I got drafted as a rookie. There was like obviously a lot going on for me, so I didn't even know how to pay attention to other people at the time. Also, he was going through some stuff at the time and didn't play that much when I was first there, so it was hard for me to see. But I remember when I first got here and met him, I was like, he seemed like an almost completely different person in my opinion. I was also younger, so we both were younger at the Jets, and now we're a lot older. So but seeing him now, he's flourished into a great player and a great leader most importantly.
When you say he was going through some stuff in 2015, that's to say the least. What did you notice about him then? How did he deal with that, and how was he with the rest of the team then?
Like I said, it was hard for me to pay attention to that stuff as a rookie, just because I had a lot of stuff going on myself, like trying to figure out, how to be better and how to adapt to the NFL. So to be honest, it was so long ago, it's kind of hard for me to remember.
What are your thoughts on going back to that? I know it's not the same team, but going back to that stadium kind of a year after your trade. What are your thoughts, I guess, on that?
I mean, I'm excited, but, it's just another game for me. Playing against the Jets is just another game. I got drafted there, so I have a lot of appreciation for the organization for, giving me the opportunity to play in the NFL. But at the same time, I feel so far removed from that organization and that team that it doesn't even feel like it's like a revenge game or homecoming game or whatever, people want to make it seem like. It feels like just a regular game to me.
You mentioned the term road warriors the other day. Talk about your guys' road success. What do you think has allowed you guys? I mean, it's tough to travel from here, a lot of long trips and early kickoffs, all that. What do you think has allowed you guys to succeed going?
I mean, to me, I think it's like when you're going into enemy environment, territory, it's like we have no one but each other to lean on. And I think in those moments, it just brings us closer as a team. We have our own energy to rely on, so we have to bring our own juice, motivate each other and hype each other up and stuff like that, versus like at home, it's like we have all these other aspects that we can rely on to like get our juice going, versus like these long road games, it's like all we have is each other.
your whole like travel routine and everything. What about that has Mike changed from what you guys did last year?
I think the biggest difference is just not sleeping the whole flight. So we're able to like actually sleep when we get in town on those long East Coast travel days. When I was younger, I would probably sleep the whole 5-hour flight, and then when I land, it's like I'd be up all night. So then it's like it kind of sets you back those next two days leading up to the game, Saturday and Sunday. So now I think guys are a little more locked in on like their routine of like staying awake on the flight, doing normal take boots, and like also working on their bodies even on the flight.
How do they enforce that? How do they make sure no one's sleeping?
I think it's more player enforced. Like we like kind of mess with each other sometimes. If like someone's sleeping too long, we'll like wake each other up and stuff like that. Which like some guys get annoyed, but it is what it is.
When you look at Breece Hall on tape, he's listed as a running back. He's got just as many yards almost, right, out of the back, or as a pass catcher. What's the challenge in slowing him down?
I mean, I think he's a great player, and like you said, he's listed as a running back, but I feel like he's one of those dual-threat guys that can do it all, He's one of those players that you always have to account for, screen plays, in the backfield, whether he's lined up, wherever he's at. He's one of those weapons on their team that they really love to utilize, and we're going to have to stop him.
What's the key to not falling for the Aaron Rodgers hard count?
I mean, in my opinion, he's the best at it for a reason. He might get a few guys. It is what it is, but just next play mentality, keep going. Or if he does get you to jump off sides, also don't stop, because that's their opportunity to try to take a shot. You see it on film sometimes. A defensive end will like jump off sides and then stop, and then now they throw like a touchdown pass. When if that guy would have just kept going, he probably would have stopped the play. But then as a guy that plays up front, it's just key your man. That's pretty much it. Don't listen to anything else. Just see your man.
Why do you think more quarterbacks don't try to do that?
I'm not sure. Maybe not everybody has the voice or the cadence or the acting skills or whatever it is. I feel like Rodgers is pretty good at it.
So happy for Kobe Bryant, or do you feel like you got robbed?
Sensitive subject. I mean, I'm obviously happy for Kobe. He's my locker mate. He's a young guy. I love to see young guys flourishing. He stepped up in the middle of the season, got his opportunity, and he hasn't let it go since. So, I got a much appreciation and love for the guy. But at the same time, it's like we talked about how, as a defense last Sunday, we were competing with each other. You know what I mean? So, as a friendly competition, I feel like I should have won it. But as a teammate and a vet, it's like I'm obviously happy for him.
When you looked at the film of your game, did it look as good on film as you kind of seemed like you felt like right after the game it was?
Yeah, it looked as good on film as I thought it was. Which is like interesting because like sometimes we talk about film like never being as good or as bad as you think. There's times where you have a game and you're like, like I messed up a lot, and then you watch film and you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And then there's times where you watch and you're like, oh, I went crazy, and then you watch film and you get a little more humbled and you're like, oh, I could have did better. But this was definitely, I think, one of my best games of my career. I felt like I was, dominant in that game. And I feel like the stats, even though I had the stats, don't even tell the full story. I feel like I played a great game.
Do you think you would have had that game for any team? Or do you feel like some of the players around you and the scheme you're in is helping you play some of your best ball?
I definitely think the scheme around me and the players around me are helping me play some of my best ball. We have a highly competitive defensive line room, and there's never a chance where I can take a play off because I know the next guy is hungry to get in there on third down, first down, second down, regardless of the down. We're competing to be out there on that field, and we're competing against each other. And I think that's when you have a great team and a great defense is when, we're not only trying to stop the offense, but we're having like friendly competitions against each other. And, even one of my sacks that I got when I was on the edge, I gave a huge credit to, Dre and those other guys for, I remember coming off the edge and I seen him like about to step up and pass the ball, but then Dre made him stop and back up, and it's like that's a credit to rushing as one. You know what I mean? All 4 or 5 rushing as one.
The stemming and moving at the snap is some of it that you did the other day. How much does that help you? What advantage does that give you?
What's that?
Stemming and moving you did it before the snap along the line. What advantage does that give you when you do it?
To me, there's a few times I stem just because I kind of anticipated a certain play or something like that. But there's also a lot of times we stem or move around just to throw off the offense. There's times where we'll be in a load front and the center has to like look through his legs to snap the ball, and then by the time he looks up, I'm like on the other side of him. So sometimes like messes up the protection calls and stuff like that. And it's hard for our offense to like ID protection or who's coming and things like that.
How commonly have you stemmed in your career, Jets, Giants here?
I would say most of my career I've been a type of guy that's kind of played all along the line. With the Giants, I played about just as much defensive end as I've been playing here. But yeah, I think the last two teams I've played a lot of defensive end and defensive tackle.
But the stemming and moving at the snap, is that rare in your career? Is that something you've been done?
I think that is a little more rare. That's part of Mike's schemes and the way he likes to blitz and disguise. And we have this mentality of like we hold the pen last type of idea. Offense like to scheme. Offense like to shift and motion and do all those type of things to throw off the defense. And we have like plays within a play to, always check to something based off what the offense is giving us, and that gives us like a hold the pen last mentality.
You obviously looked very healthy on Sunday, but has the foot injury been hard to play through at all?
I mean, it's been hard to prepare during the week, I think. Luckily, I have a lot of experience under my belt. So by the time Sunday comes around, there's not too many blocks that I'm going to see that I haven't seen already. You know what I mean? But I think throughout the week, I have had to shift in learning how to be prepared on Sunday. And that's like staying conditioning, staying in the weight room, staying on the film, and things like that. Because, not practicing all week does, take an effect on Sunday if you're not getting the looks full speed during the week that you're going to get on Sunday.
What do you think's allowed the defense to take this step forward the last few weeks?
That's a good question. I mean, I think the biggest part is stopping the run. Being able to stop the run is, giving Mike freedom to call the defensive plays the way he wants to, and getting them and get back on track, backed up situations have been allowing us to rush the passer, allowing us to affect the quarterback. So to me, it's all about stopping them on first down and stopping the run. And I think that just came down to like a mindset. I feel like we harped on it so much. We put a lot of emphasis on stopping the run. And I feel like we're finally coming together and stopping it as one.
How do you look back on just sort of the whole, it's been about 13 months, I guess, since you were traded, coming to Seattle. Then at Seattle, you immediately have changed too with the change in the coaching staff and stuff like that, but then you resigned. I guess that kind of whole journey of coming here and,
Yeah, I mean, it has been a lot. I mean, even in the middle of the season last year, coming here all the way from the East Coast and stuff like that, sometimes it's like so much of a storm going on that it, in my opinion, it makes me better sometimes because there's so much chaos going on that like the only thing I can focus on is like what I can control. And in times like that, it almost makes me a better player, person, to just like lock in on my things. You know what I mean? It's like I can't pay attention to what's going on outside of me. I can only focus on what's in front of me and what I can control. So in times like that, I think it makes me better.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you.